What the hell is a conductor doing on stage and off stage? And does anybody know what their job is? Well, I'm gonna tell you. Welcome to a new episode of Music Insights, where I show you what lies behind the curtain of the music industry. Hey guys, my name is Danny Bumarun and I'm a music producer slash film composer slash composer slash arranger. It's basically what every musician does these days, which is everything in music. So about 90% of what the conductor does is not even during the concert. It's during rehearsals and preparation that he has to do for the score. So music notation is a very beautiful language. Let's say you have a melody and you want to give it to a violin. There's maybe 5, 6, 7 different ways you can write it, but there's probably 50 different ways of playing it. The conductor's job is mainly to express how he or she wants the music to be played. So it's a constant communication with the musicians during rehearsal to get the sound that they want. So that's why when you hear Beethoven's Ninth Symphony by 10 different orchestras, it sounds very different every time, mostly because of what the conductor wanted during rehearsals. A lot of you probably think that a conductor doesn't really do anything. He's just waving his hands around and people are not really even looking at him. First of all, peripheral vision is a very real thing for musicians on stage. Even I sometimes am like, are they even looking at me? But yeah, they can kind of. Also, just think of it this way. When an actor for a movie is reading a script, they can act in a variety of different ways. But you need a film director to guide them in the right way. The words are on the page, but they need to be executed in a proper way. And that's what a conductor is doing with not only one, but sometimes up to 80 different musicians at the same time. Not all through the waving of the hands and the old kind of move, which is mostly for show. A lot of it is during the rehearsals. So I'll give you an example. The first time I stood in front of an ensemble was in Hollywood when I was at UCLA. I was in front of 15 musicians and I remember seeing a Lamborghini parked in the parking lot. And I asked the teacher, I'm like, whose Lamborghini is that? And he's like, oh, we have a special guest today, an hautbois player from John Williams' Orchestra. So he recorded on Star Wars. And I said, oh, is he gonna play? And he's like, yep, you have to guide him. I obviously was shivering but that experience taught me a lot because while I was standing there, even though this veteran in music was in front of me, he still asked me, how would you like me to play this? And I, of course, said, I have no idea, you know best. But it is part of the conductor's job to even tell the greatest superstar musicians how they want it to be played. And sometimes I can ask, like, can you play it this way or that way so we can hear the difference and then we make a decision. All of this is part of the 90% that goes into the job of the conductor during rehearsals. So what about waving the hands? Well, back in the day, it wasn't always that. There used to be a composer named Lully, I think that's how it's pronounced, and he used to conduct with a staff. So he used to keep time with banging with a large stick on the ground, like 1, 2, 3, and until one day, he accidentally stabbed his foot with the staff, and it developed a gangrene infection, and they wanted to amputate his foot in order to survive, but he was a dancer, so he said, no, keep the foot, I want to dance. And then eventually he died, and after that, conducting with a staff was banned, and so they used a little baton. I personally like to conduct with my hands. I feel it's more expressive, like an extension of myself, but there are no rules in conducting. There are many different ways. You're not only keeping time, you're also expressing the emotion that you want, the dynamics that you want. Sometimes they can go like really low and then suddenly rise up because you want the musicians to feel that they're playing soft and then all of a sudden louder and louder and louder. And it's this whole dynamic. It's an energy that you have to express. And musicians feel that, especially if their job day in and day out is 8 hours a day, playing music all day long. If I don't go in there with the right energy and give them the right impact, they're not going to give me their all. Another role that a conductor plays is discipline. He's the head of the orchestra. At the end of the day, you need someone to make sure that the take was good, or we need to repeat it again, or maybe we need a break because we're tired. This is all something that the conductor decides, and a lot of times the musicians are tired, they don't really want to practice, they're making jokes on the side, maybe they're whispering. It's my job, sadly, to be like this headmaster of a school role, which is like, flute, out of tune, kind of like the movie Whiplash where he throws the chair at the drummer. Yeah, there's a little bit of a balance there, and different conductors have different way of doing it. I tend to not yell at people because I think it's disrespectful, but I do have to maintain order. The first time I recorded with a 50-piece orchestra, it changed my life. I was standing in front of 50 musicians, the Prague Philharmonic Orchestra, and I had been working on music for my album for 4 years, and now I'm standing in front of them, ready as an amateur conductor to finish the whole album in 8 hours. The pressure was insane. There was a huge clock at the end of the room that said 8 hours. And it might seem like a lot, but we literally finished at like 8 hours and 02 minutes. In a situation like that, the conductor's job is to make sure that we are being efficient while preserving the quality that's coming out. So we might have the take, we might not, but it is my decision to make on the spot whether or not we have time to repeat the whole song, which is like 3-4 minutes, or we have to move on and compromise on quality. And this is basically the preparation for the concert as well. When I was conducting the Edith Piaf concert in Dubai, we were very, very short on time. We needed 2 extra rehearsals that we didn't have. So it was my decision as a conductor to practice this song a little bit less because it's less difficult and rush to the concert a little less rehearsed than we would have been. And I got a lot of backlash from some of the musicians because they're like, well, we're not ready to play this. And I'm like, well, we're out of time, so we have to decide at some point. It's these pilot flying a plane kind of decision. I mean, it's weird thinking that way because it's music at the end of the day. There's no lives at stake, but trust me, when you're playing a concert for 1,000 people, it feels like there's lives at stake. And sometimes I make the bad decision. In Dubai, there was a couple mistakes that happened during the concert. At one point, one of the musicians, because of lack of practice, came in a little bit earlier. This was an insane problem to solve because I'm conducting and the percussionist came in early, so he's reading the notes, so he started, and the rest of the orchestra didn't, but they're gonna wait for my signal, so I come in, and then I have to somehow merge what he's playing and what they're playing with my eyes and my hands. Meanwhile, the singer is behind me. She can't even see what's happening, but she can hear something's wrong. Hopefully the audience doesn't. And I'm trying to signal to the violins, follow the drummer, follow the... And now, without looking weird or awkward or anything at all. I mean, this stuff happens and you kind of just have to save the ship as it's sinking. Luckily, after the concert, I don't think anybody noticed because people gave us very good feedback and they loved it. Now, sometimes some conductors are putting on a show because at the end of the day, we're artists, and it's fun when you have the orchestra practice and they know exactly what parts to play. They don't really need the conductor that much on stage. I mean, his presence is very important, but you can exaggerate and have a little fun here and there. Or sometimes the conductor is just waving his hands and making mistakes and not really doing anything while everybody thinks they're doing something, kind of like live DJs. That's a joke. That's a joke. Don't come at me at the comment section. I'm kidding. I think DJs are doing a lot of things. I'm just kidding. Not all DJs are pretending to do something while they're actually not doing anything at all. I'm just saying it's a performance. We all know what's going on. One thing that I did not expect in this career is being called Maestro. When someone calls you Maestro, you can't just reply, oh, I want a burger with fries, or did you hear the last Katy Perry song? Like, even though she probably has a conductor for her live concerts. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's addicting. It sounds like master, maestro. I don't know, it's an ego trip that I do not need. So the next time you find yourself at a concert and you see a conductor waving their hands around like they're doing something, trust me, they are. All right, guys, I hope you learned something or at least found this entertaining. If you did, like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next episode.